Hi guys, it's Monique from earlylearningmom.com, and I'm just here. I'm sitting in a parking lot. I actually went and grabbed some skates for my parents because we are going to try skating tomorrow. And I had a video that I uploaded. I was gonna post on Friday. It was just like about our experience with doctors and stuff like that, and it just felt a little negative to me. And I decided that I would come pull into a parking lot. I just felt inspired to kind of share some of the good stuff that's going on with Z lately. And I know the lighting's not the best, but it's the message, not so much the lighting. You guys don't come here for that, I'm sure. But we have been really putting in a solid effort this week. I mean, our days weren't perfect. We had a few days where they were nearly perfect, and then we had some days that were okay. But they were way better than they've been. We have been getting tons of programs done. We went through 4 homemade books. We went through, and our goal is 2 new homemade books a week. We did 4. We would have done 5 if we changed. We were doing a homemade book every 3 days, and I soon discovered that that was not working for Z. He was getting bored. He was spoiled before. He needs a new homemade book every day. So we are going to be providing him that. And so far this week, we've done that. And, you know, I just see him developing. I just see him, I think we ask our kids to do things, and especially our kiddos with autism, sometimes we ask them like a question, like, okay, well, we've been working on math. What are we doing? Like, what's, 2 plus 2? And they just copy us and say 2, or they say something else. And we're like, well, I guess they don't get it. Let's keep pounding this one in. But then if you look at them and you present it a different way, like I put out 2 flashcards, and one's like 2 plus 7, and the other one is, 2 plus 8. And I'm like, hey, Zakari, which one equals 9? And suddenly, instead of using his words and getting the answer out of his head and remembering his words, and he just selects the right one. He's like, oh, I know this, and it turns into a fun game. And the same thing with our vocabulary words. I cannot believe how quickly he's caught on to this. This was something that ABA worked with him for so long. They would say like, okay, give me the picture that's fuzzy, and there's a teddy bear and a rock, and he wouldn't know which one to hand them. But now we're taking vocabulary words, and we're saying we're taking vocabulary words from his homemade books, and it'll be like venom and fangs. And I'll put the 2 words out. So we have like 5 or 10 vocabulary words, 5, I think, 5. And I go through them and I show them the word and I tell them what it means. And then later on in the week, I put out a couple cards, and they'll be like venom and fang. I'll be like, which one is a poison that animals make? And he immediately selects venom. Or if I say, which one is really sharp teeth? He picks fangs. And so he is demonstrating that he knows and he understands, and it just makes me like realize I have to keep presenting things to this kiddo. And I keep telling people, like I talk to other friends that they're like, oh, my kid's not getting this. And it's like, no, you're not presenting it the way they need it. When a kid's not getting something, it's not the kid's fault. And I always thought this was crazy when people said that, but it is so true. It is the teacher's responsibility to make sure the child is understanding. And if they're not understanding through workbooks, or they're not understanding through, the curriculum that you've pulled out, it's not the child, it's the parent or the teacher. And there was an example, a good friend of mine here, I met on YouTube and Instagram, and now we chat on Facebook all the time. I consider her a wonderful friend. She had this book, and it's, fairly easy reading, but there's a lot of words on the page, and she's like, my son can't do it. I said, oh, darn right he can. Turn it into a homemade book. And she did it. And the next day she messaged me and she told me he read the whole thing. And it was because there's too many words on the page. The words were not the problem, like the complexity. Like, frankly, honey, I think they're too easy. And you know who I'm talking. I know you watch my videos. I think he can handle way bigger words. So I knew that was going to be a cakewalk for him. And sure enough, she did it and messaged me. I'm so thrilled, and I can't imagine how excited her little boy must be to be able to, like, yeah, I read that. Whereas, like, I know from my son, a page with lots of words, even though he can read every single word on the page and know what every single word means, his eyes, he has trouble tracking because of his brain injury. He has trouble tracking those words. And sometimes the same word is on the page a couple times. So he may think he found his place, but it's a different place. And so by blowing up the words and making them bigger and helping train his eyes to read that way, Z can read so much more and quick. So I just wanted to talk about the positivity that's been going on. I know I've been kind of negative Nancy on my page, and you know, being a special needs mom is tough, and burnout is a real thing. But I just wanted to come celebrate tonight and just say, like, we had a great week. And this is not my weekly update. I'll come in here and I'm going to share with you guys everything that we've done. But I just wanted to come celebrate today because I could just see it in Z that he's excited. Like, we're doing programs, but we're doing what he needs, not what I think looks good, you know? Like, you go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, you go on YouTube, and these parents got these beautiful curriculums, and I'm a book nerd. I love sniffing books. Just like I walk into a bookstore and I smell those books and I'm like, I want them all in my house. And I'm the same way with curriculum. That curriculum looks great. I want it. That curriculum looks great. I want it. People that have known me for a long time know I have tons of curriculum. The sad part is I don't use a lot of it. And I'm starting to see that now. And I'm starting to see that Z learns with regular books. He learns with homemade books that I made him. He learns with flashcards that I write up or I print. He doesn't learn with typical curriculums. And as much as I want to put him in that box, it's not working. And this beginning of this school year was difficult for me because I wanted to be in that box. I wanted to use that beautiful curriculum, and I could still use parts of it. It's a literature-based curriculum. We can read the books. I can ask him questions about it, but the way I ask him questions about it is going to be based on how he needs me to ask questions and how I need to engage him with conversation. And I just think, like, I've really been focusing on listening to him because I'm noticing he's telling me things. And there was one thing that happened was last week, the end of last week. He came up to me and he was saying treehouse. And I thought treehouse, I'm thinking, like, I'm Canadian, so I'm thinking that the TV station Treehouse that he used to watch like years ago when he was a kid. When we would go to my parents' house. We don't have cable, but they had it, and we'd put on Treehouse for him as a treat. And I'm like, Treehouse, honey, we don't have Treehouse. And he said to me, he looks at me, he's like, wind blows, spin faster, faster, stop, everything stop. And I realized I just stopped dead. Like, oh my God, that is how the Magic Treehouse books, chapter 1, except for the first book, we've read like 37 of them, I think. The first book, that statement happens in chapter 2, but the rest, that's the end of chapter 1 when they take off to the new place. And I realized, oh my goodness, he wants to read a Magic Treehouse book. He is requesting, and we hadn't read one in since August. And we're sitting November now. Well, it was the end of October when this happened. I said, okay, when we finish the book that we're reading right now, we're going to read a Magic Treehouse book. And, you know, I probably, like, you know, sometimes life gets so busy to stop and listen to what these little guys have to say. And I know not all of them, not all kids with special needs are able to communicate that way, but there are ways to listen to them. And I just, my heart is so full right now, and I just wanted to come and share that. So thank you for listening. I hope this inspires you to listen to your kids and to not stick them in a box, and realize that if things are not working, I'm going to do a whole video on why I think intellectual disability is a cop-out. And I know that's dangerous territory. I don't believe kids are intellectually disabled. I believe they have communication have communication disabilities, they have social disabilities, but intellectual, like, I feel there's been kids that have been able to demonstrate that people have marked them as intellectually disabled, and they do amazing things because their parents believed in them. So I want to do a whole video on that because I'm super passionate about it. I'm not going to get into it too much here. It's a hot topic, and this is a positive video, and I am super, super pumped that we are on the right track. We recovered from this little bug. We are enjoying our programs. We are enjoying our homeschool, and I want to keep this positive. So anyhow, I don't think I'm going to post the video that I uploaded today. Don't think I'm going to do it. Just too negative. I want this to be happy. So anyhow, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I have been really trying to pump out content 5 days a week. That is my goal. And be sure to check out my Facebook and my Instagram and my website, www.earlylearningmom.com. Thanks for watching.